Shema Israel. Hope you enjoy this next study. My name's Dee. This is my wife, Millie.
So if you like what you see, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you wish to reach out to us, you can email us at devotedtoyah@gmail.com.
All right, Matthew chapter 10, verse 34 to 39. Ezzy, since you had a short one, why don't you go ahead and read this one as well?
Okay. Do not think that I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to bring division, a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies are those of his own household. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take up his stake and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who has found his life shall lose it, and he that has lost his life for my sake shall find it. For me, practically, it makes me think of those situations that you're in where you might be around family or you might be around people that you've known and grown up with, and you've made a change, and maybe you don't do the same things you used to do. You don't wear the same clothes. You may not go to the same places. And every time you come around, it may be a little uncomfortable. You may feel some persecution. You may feel like an outsider or an outcast, but you shouldn't suppress the testimony that you have or the change that you've made just to make people feel comfortable or just to gain the acceptance of your family. Because ultimately, even Yahusha said, you know, when his mother and his brother was waiting outside, when he was preaching, he was like, who is my mother, who is my brother or my mother but those that do the will of my father? I'm butchering it, but you get the point.
Yeah.
So, you know, ultimately you're adopting a new family, you're adopting a new custom, a new culture, and it's not always going to be accepted around family or people that you know or that know you.
Let's talk specifics. What are some of these type of things that cause division? One of them is celebrating different holidays. That's a big one, right? Mom, Dad, we don't celebrate Christmas no more. What? And these are Bible believers. These are Bible believers. And they go, what do you mean you don't celebrate Christmas no more? And we try to tell them, Jeremiah chapter 10, Mom, it says that we can't, cut a tree in the forest and bring it into our house and decorate it. That's stuff that pagans do. That's stuff that the wicked nations do. And we're not supposed to be doing stuff. Oh, okay, yeah, but it's just a tree. And then they get all offended, right? Because you're not giving gifts. And then, oh my goodness, when you start denying gifts, it even gets worse. Because it's like, listen, I told you I don't want to participate. Don't give me any gifts. Okay, what if we give you gifts after? It better not be a Christmas gift. Just don't call it a Christmas gift. I don't want any association. This is the type of stuff they get mad. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie, like, if they gave me a gift, I would take it. And then they get mad. Oh, you don't want to celebrate, but you taking gifts. I didn't tell you to give me a gift. You volunteered. I told you I don't participate. So you ain't going to get no reciprocation if you're giving me a gift. I'm not going to reciprocate. But anyway, yeah, like Thanksgiving, there's so many other holidays, right? We don't celebrate. That's a big thing that causes division. Derail. Oh, you're muted.
There we go. Okay. For me, the verse 37, he who loves father and mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son and daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Like she said, the whole, Messiah said, who is my mother, who is my father? But what stuck out for me was Matthew 8:22, where he says, but Yahusha said to him, follow me and leave the dead to bury their own dead. Now, if that doesn't bring division, I don't know what will. I'm not going to your funeral. You know what I mean? And, I gotta go to my fellowship. I gotta go, study the word. I have to put Messiah first. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now that's putting.
I don't know how I feel about funerals. I've been thinking about this. It's good that you bring this up because, like, all of our forefathers, they buried people. You know what I mean?
Right.
They did bury them. I'm not sure how ceremonial it was compared to what it is today, right? Like a whole dang service
But it
and
wouldn't
cut
be
the
a
body open.
sin to say, no, I'm going to go fellowship because I want to get his word in. I think that's going to help me grieve.
Yeah. Yeah, but
A
what
lot of
I'm
people
trying
are
to
going to,
say is I don't think it's a sin to show up.
no, no, no. I don't
The
think
Bible does talk about anybody who touches a dead body is clean. I mean, is
so.
unclean for a certain amount of days, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean like you're a sinner or you're sinning. It's just you're unclean. And I think that's something a lot of Christians don't understand about our beliefs and about the Old Testament. Is just because you're unclean doesn't make you wicked or or a sinner.
Right.
It's a condition that we're in. And a lot of the times it's natural and it's normal, but there are, you know, it does affect us. It does have some type of effect on us, or else yeah, the Bible wouldn't call it unclean for no reason, you
Right.
know. So there are natural things that happen in a man's body or a woman's body that makes them unclean as well. When a woman has a child, she's unclean for a certain amount of days. When a woman has her period, she's unclean for a certain amount of days. That doesn't make her a wicked or a sinner or lawless.
No.
You know what I mean? That's a natural occurrence. So likewise, when we're if we have a dead family member or whatever and we carry their body, we're touching their body, we're touching the dead body, it makes us unclean. And but so I just basically say that to say, like, I'm not sure it's wrong to attend a funeral or anything like that, but um I don't know if I would be part of like trying to touch the body or anything. Like, you know how like everybody goes up to the coffin and all that. Like I don't really know if it's not my family member, I wouldn't do that. If I have no intimate connection with the person, I don't think I'd want to like really get close to somebody just out of respect. Like that to me, there's some cultural differences, but some other things that cause division, I think are that are big is music. What music we listen to. When you go from being an unbeliever to a believer, all of us now we start have a select a smaller selection of music that we listen to. We don't listen to mainstream secular, you know, ungodly music that we would consider ungodly. The world's like, oh, what's so ungodly about it? And then you got to get into, and then they get all upset. I know there's some families that are very into music to the point where they have dance parties on a weekly basis or whatever, house parties, you know what I mean? Like very, very into music. And when you become a believer and you stop listening to it, like how, like, what do you mean? Like, you grew up on this, you know, this is part of your blood. This is in your blood, right? So it becomes offensive when you go to a barbecue or some family get together and they're listening to that kind of music and you're like, yeah, I really don't like this kind of music. And they get all, you know, upset and, you know,
Yeah.
that's another thing that caused division. Um, what
You're
we
a party pooper.
Yeah, we're party poopers, we're whack. They're telling, well, let me bring some of my music. Put it in the mix. um that I would say that's a fair compromise. Like if you want me to come over, like can you at least let me throw on 20 or 30 tracks onto the mix of what you're playing throughout the day, please? You know, if you want me to stay long. If not, I'm only gonna go for like an hour before I get, you know, agitated and want to leave. That's me. That's really me. There's some people that are, I guess, newer to the walk, and it doesn't bother them that much because they haven't gotten to that growth period where they've decided, oh wow, you know what, I shouldn't listen to this anymore. You know, some people it takes a little longer. But what we eat is also something that causes division. We don't eat pork. We don't eat shrimp. We don't eat the, you know, the vacuum cleaners of the earth, and that causes offenses. I know for the Latino culture, when you come over somebody's house, you know, they want you to eat everything. You know, they're like, sit down, have a meal, and you're like, nah, I just ate, and they get all upset and offended. You know, the Spanish culture. You know, let alone if they cooked up some pork chops and stuff, and they're like, here's. I was like, I don't eat pork chops no more. What do you mean? Oh my God. You're not Puerto Rican. You don't eat pork chops. You know, um, other things that cause division. Our religion affects our political views. It affects our political views and what we stand for. It should. It should. Not that it effectively does. I don't understand how you could be a Bible believer and really be okay with liberals. But we tend to have more conservative views. We're aggressively against abortions. We're against LGBTQ lifestyles. We're not for this identity crisis, identity confusion type stuff that's going on in days. And that's that right there, especially in the year 2020, is very offensive, extremely offensive. That's hate speech. It's basically called hate speech now. We're not allowed to speak down or bad about the LGBT community. But guess what? That's part of my religion. If I open up the Bible right now, I can show you plenty of scriptures where that my God that I worship is against that type of gender, what is it called? Sexual identity, gender identity, whatever the case is.
Yeah, gender identity.
Yeah. So
Gender confusion.
I was gonna say I am so grateful for no longer having a job that I had where now you take the genders off of the bathrooms. I don't know. It's like a gender equal
neutral
bathroom. Yeah, gender neutral. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to share a bathroom with someone who was a man.
Yeah.
I felt completely uncomfortable, and
like
a lot
at the same time
in the same bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
that's
a
not
gender,
cool.
but he wasn't.
I can understand if it's
man,
a single, like if it's one toilet, one toilet type of thing, like in the fast food.
Well,
places.
they're not gonna stop you if he feels like he's a woman and he can freely go in the women's bathroom.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
That is so
So
wrong.
that's where we're at now.
And then you have what if you have kids too? You know what I mean? Like you got a kid going in the bathroom. A kid that's old enough to go by themselves. And you're like, all right, go in. I'll be right out here. And right after that, a transgender, whatever, man, woman, you don't even know what the hell, walks in right after your kid. Now, like, yep, now I'm going inside. I'm not staying out here. Or what if they're already in there and you don't know? And you telling your kid, all right, go to the bathroom, I'll be right here. But while there's somebody in there. Yeah, man, that's not cool. That's not cool. But hey, we live in America. It's not Israel. This is not a holy nation. So we can only expect but so much. But in the meantime, we should be speaking up against that kind of stuff. But yeah, so there's a lot. There's a lot about this. If we choose to follow Yahusha, there's a lot of division. A lot of people have this image of Messiah that he's this lovey-dovey hippie, peace,
yeah, man,
summer of love, flower girl kind of guy. No, he came to bring division, as you can see right here in the scriptures. He didn't come to bring peace. He came to bring a sword, and that's in another passage. But he did come to bring peace. What type of peace? Peace between God and us. That's the type of peace he came to bring. Because there's enmity right now between us and God. If we're not believers, there's a lot of beef. There's a lot of enmity and a lot of anger between God and us. And he came to provide a way to bring peace to that relationship if we submit to his will.